One wrong step on the gas. One tire over the edge. That's the difference between making a home and disappearing forever. The roads you're about to see weren't designed for safety. They were carved out of desperation, hacked into mountainsides, dragged through jungles, and left to rot by governments that forgot they existed. These are routes where the pavement ends. The guardrails never started, and every single driver knows the risk before they turn the key. And these roads should not exist. Amazon jungle roads, Peru. Picture a trail carved into the side of a mountain 5,000 meters above sea level. Now, picture driving a loaded truck on it. That's daily life on the jungle roads of Peru's Amazon region. The lanes are so narrow that two vehicles can't pass at the same time. Drivers pull over on blind corners, inches from drops that vanish into green nothing. At altitude, oxygen thins out. Brake systems lose pressure. Human lungs struggle. Most of these roads are unpaved, just mud, loose rock, and ruts deep enough to swallow a tire. Landslides block traffic for days. Sometimes they swallow the road entirely. Truck and all, straight into the ravine below. Colombia-Venezuela border road. People assume Venezuela's oil wealth means modern highways. The reality is the opposite. Between 1958 and 1988, these roads were smooth, well-maintained corridors through the Andes. Decades of neglect destroyed them. Today, the asphalt is gone. What remains is mud, craters, loose gravel, and trenches deep enough to trap a bus. The terrain wraps around gorges that drop hundreds of meters straight down. There are no barriers, no guardrails, no warning signs. When heavy rain hits, the hillside becomes liquid. Flash floods erase entire road sections in minutes. Rivers swell and sweep vehicles off crossings like toys in a bathtub. Nigeria's illegal fuel routes. This one isn't about potholes or cliffs. It's about fire. Across Nigeria, criminal networks and desperate locals tap into oil pipelines illegally. The fuel gets loaded onto rusted motorcycles. Up to 700 liters per trip. Workers strip naked to keep their clothes from catching fire in the gasoline vapors. One spark from an exhaust pipe. One stumble on a dirt trail. The entire motorcycle becomes a fireball. Explosions happen regularly on these hidden paths. The riders know this. They ride anyway, because the money from one successful trip can feed a family for a month. The danger isn't the road surface. It's the cargo. China's Julong Valley Road. This is the only road connecting remote communities in the Julong Valley to the outside world. It threads along cliff edges through mountains rising over 3,400 meters. Dense forest presses in from both sides. Despite government investment, large sections remain unpaved, slick with mud, and riddled with holes. A tunnel started in the 1980s was never finished. Inside, it's pitch black, crumbling, and dripping with water that weakens the rock overhead. Rock falls and landslides occur almost daily during the rainy season. When the tunnel collapses, the valley is completely cut off. No alternate route exists. Lubumbashi-Kolwezi Highway, Congo. Welcome to the road that feeds the world's appetite for cobalt and copper. The surface is fine red dust in the dry season and a bottomless mud river when the rains come. 40-ton trucks sink to their axles and sit there for 2 weeks waiting for conditions to change. Thousands of overloaded or haulers pound this road day and night, shredding what little surface remains. Motorcycles, pedestrians, and ancient passenger vehicles weave between these steel giants. One misjudged gap between two trucks and you're crushed. There are no hospitals nearby, no emergency services, just red dust, heat, and the sound of engines grinding forward. Think that sound extreme? We're just warming up. The roads ahead get worse in ways that are hard to believe. Katanga Railway, Congo. Technically, this is a train, not a road. But when the train is the only way out of your village, it becomes your highway. The 1,600-kilometer journey takes at least 8 days because the tracks are so damaged the train crawls at under 10 kilometers per hour. Nearly 2,000 passengers cram into cars built for a third of that number. People sit on cargo, stand in doorways, and relieve themselves in plastic bags thrown from windows. Those without tickets ride the roof, dodging tree branches at head height. It's filthy, it's dangerous, and it's the cheapest, often the only connection these communities have to the rest of the country. Yungas Road, Bolivia. Built in the 1930s by prisoners of war, the Yungas Road drops from 4,600 meters to 1,200 meters in a single stretch. That's a pressure change extreme enough to make engines sputter and ears pop painfully. Sections narrow to just 3 meters wide, barely enough for one truck. There are no guardrails between you and a 500-meter free fall into jungle canopy. Warm Amazon air collides with cold Andean air, producing fog so thick you can't see your own hood. Before a bypass was built, 300 people died here annually. Locals still call it El Camino de la Muerte, the Road of Death. Tajapuru River Crossing, Amazon Basin, connecting La Paz to the lush Amazon lowlands. This route feels less like a road and more like a wet staircase chiseled into a cliff face. The path is brutally narrow. One side is solid rock. The other side is a sheer drop into dense forest hundreds of meters below. Guardrails don't exist here. Fog rolls in without warning as warm tropical air slams into cold mountain currents. Coca leaf farmers in the region have invented their own crude transport methods to navigate the steep grades, methods that would violate every safety standard on Earth. Driving here isn't transportation. It's a controlled fall. Trans-Amazonian Highway, Brazil. 40 years ago, this was a paved national highway. Nature took it back. Today, it's a cratered dirt track cutting through some of the densest rainforest on the planet. Trucks with 700,000 kilometers on the odometer haul overloaded cargo through mud pits that swallow wheels whole. Drivers earn triple the average salary because the skill required is extraordinary. Each truck travels with a spotter who walks ahead to scout the route and doubles as a field mechanic. When a vehicle gets stuck, and it will, drivers and passengers can be stranded in the wilderness for days or weeks. No cell signal, no rescue teams, just jungle, heat, and waiting. If you're still watching, you already know these aren't exaggerated stories. These are real places where real people risk everything just to move from point A to point B. If this kind of content matters to you, if understanding the extremes of our world is why you're here, hit that like button and subscribe. We're far from finished. Chin Hills Roads, Myanmar. Myanmar's Chin State has some of the most punishing mountain roads in Southeast Asia. The terrain is a maze of high ridges, blind corners, and ravines hidden by fog. Most sections have no asphalt, just dirt, mud, and stretches of quicksand-like ground that shakes vehicles apart bolt by bolt. Small streams become raging rivers after a single downpour. Drivers wade in on foot to check depth before attempting a crossing. During monsoon season, June through September, the entire road becomes a flowing river of mud and rock. Landslides can seal the route without warning. If you can't reverse with precision on a cliff edge, you don't belong here. Gabon logging roads. Sitting right on the equator, wrapped in tropical rainforest, Gabon's roads have one true enemy: mud. When the rains arrive, red dirt transforms into a thick, soupy river that swallows anything with wheels. Massive logging trucks hauling timber get buried and block entire routes for days, sometimes weeks. No detours exist. You wait or you walk. The humidity is crushing. The insects are relentless. And every kilometer takes 10 times longer than you'd expect. In Gabon, nature doesn't just fight back against roads. It wins. Autopista del Sol, Mexico. This highway is famous for its knife-edge turns, especially the section known as La Pera. Mountain passes lack guardrails in critical spots. One steering mistake sends a vehicle tumbling hundreds of meters into a ravine, but the road surface is the hidden killer. Clay soil combined with tropical rain creates sinkholes that open without warning. One tragedy involved a father and son who suffocated after their vehicle dropped into an 8-meter deep sinkhole on the Paso Expressway. In some Mexican states, a driver's license costs around $40. No written test, no driving exam required. Combine that with widespread impaired driving, and you have one of the deadliest highway systems in the Western Hemisphere. Djibouti-Ethiopia Railway. Built by the French in the late 1800s, this railway connecting Addis Ababa to Djibouti is a relic that refuses to die. The vintage train cars aren't charming. They're crumbling. Wooden sleepers rot under the tracks. Rails warp in the heat of the Danakil Depression, one of the hottest places on Earth. where ground temperatures can exceed 60 degrees Celsius. The route crosses deep ravines on bridges that groan under the weight. There's no modern signaling system, no climate control, just a slow, swaying journey through volcanic desert where derailment means hours, possibly days, before help arrives. Salong Pass, Afghanistan. This is the only major artery connecting Kabul to northern Afghanistan. It climbs to nearly 4,000 meters through terrain shaped by avalanches, frost, and war. The road surface is wrecked, potholes and ruts carved by decades of overloaded military and civilian vehicles. But the true nightmare is the Salong Tunnel, 3 kilometers long at 3,900 meters elevation. Inside, the air is a toxic mix of exhaust smoke, dust, and dangerously low oxygen. Ventilation systems broke down years ago. Fires have killed hundreds inside this tunnel. There is no escape route. If something goes wrong in the middle, you're trapped in darkness with no breathable air. Hold on, because what's coming next takes dangerous to a completely different level. Andes mountain passes, Peru's Andean passes aren't roads in any modern sense. They're ledges. Sitting between 3,000 and 5,000 meters above sea level, these routes feature endless hairpin turns stacked on top of each other. Some corners are so tight the back end of your vehicle hangs over open air before you finish the turn. One side is a vertical rock wall. The other is a canyon that drops thousands of meters with nothing between you and the bottom. No guardrails, no reflectors, no mercy. At altitude, your brain gets foggy, your reaction slow, and the road demands perfection on every single curve. Fairy Meadows Road, Pakistan. The name sounds peaceful. The road is anything but. Carved into the cliffs of the Himalayas and Karakoram ranges. This track runs along the Indus River Gorge, one of the deepest canyons on the planet. The only vehicles that attempt it are battered 1970s era Jeeps. The path is barely wider than the Jeep itself. Drivers stop constantly to pour water into overheating radiators as engines scream in low gear up impossible grades. Fog, rain, and snow can shut the road down at any moment. There are no barriers, no breakdown services, just gravity waiting for its next opportunity. RN5 Madagascar. If you expect pavement, leave now. Route Nationale 5 runs along Madagascar's eastern coast and has earned its reputation as one of the most brutal roads on the planet. When monsoon rains hit, the surface becomes a river of red mud deep enough to swallow a truck up to its frame in seconds. Dry sections aren't much better. Jagged rocks and exposed tree roots act like natural tire shredders. Near the coast, soft sand bogs down vehicles that lose all momentum. Local drivers carry machetes, shovels, and tree branches as standard equipment, not for emergencies, for the normal commute. Karnali Highway, Nepal, 300 kilometers connecting Circuit to Jumla, one of the poorest and most isolated regions on Earth. The road follows sheer cliff faces above the Karnali River Valley, where drops of hundreds of meters wait just beyond the tire's edge. Most of the route is loose rock, thick mud, and packed dirt. Sections are so narrow that a Jeep's outer wheel rolls along the very lip of the cliff. Despite being only 300 kilometers, the journey takes up to 5 days. One blocked landslide, one swollen river crossing, one mechanical failure. And you're stranded in mountains where rescue is a concept, not a service. I want to hear from you in the comments. Have any of you driven roads like these? What was it like? This community has some of the most well-traveled people on YouTube. Share your experiences below. And if you're new here, welcome to a channel that goes beyond the tourist brochure. Papua New Guinea Highlands Roads. Papua New Guinea has some of the tallest mountains and thickest jungles in the Pacific. The roads don't curve gently around obstacles. They shoot straight uphill at grades that make four-wheel drive trucks stall and slide backward. A 15-minute tropical downpour turns red dirt into a bottomless swamp. Travel time is meaningless here. 50 kilometers can take 3 full days. The geology is young and unstable. Entire mountainsides collapse without warning. Many bridges are improvised from tree trunks or rusted steel. Every crossing is a coin flip between making it and falling through. Sichuan-Tibet Highway, China. Stretching over 2,000 kilometers through some of the highest terrain on Earth, The Sichuan-Tibet Highway is a relentless assault on drivers and machines. The route crosses 14 mountain passes, above 4,000 meters. Oxygen levels at the highest points drop so low that drivers experience confusion, blurred vision, and delayed reaction times. Road surfaces alternate between crumbling asphalt and raw gravel without warning. Frozen sections in winter turn the highway into a skating rink with 1,000-meter drops on either side. Rock slides regularly close sections for days. Military convoys share the road with pilgrim buses and overloaded cargo trucks. The mix is volatile. New Delhi roads, India. India holds one of the worst road safety records on the planet. Roughly 150,000 people die on Indian roads every year. Over 400 deaths every single day. One country accounts for more than 10% of all traffic fatalities worldwide. Half the victims are pedestrians, cyclists, and motorcyclists. On highways around New Delhi, vehicles hit speeds of 100 kilometers per hour while dodging bicycles, wandering livestock, pedestrian crossing illegally, and oncoming traffic in the wrong lane. In winter, a toxic blend of smog, dust, and fog drops visibility to near zero. Chain reaction pileups involving dozens of vehicles happen regularly. Ladakh roads, India. Ladakh isn't a road. It's a labyrinth carved into the highest mountains on Earth. Passes like Kardung La and Umlingla sit above 5,800 meters, where oxygen drops to half of sea level concentration. Altitude sickness strikes fast. Headaches, nausea, confusion, loss of coordination. The road surface changes constantly. Glacial meltwater streams cut across the pavement with enough force to knock a heavy motorcycle sideways. There's no asphalt in many stretches, just loose gravel and mud that shifts with every rainfall. In winter, the passes close entirely under meters of snow. In summer, they're open but barely survivable. These aren't just numbers on a screen. Every statistic represents someone's family member who didn't come home. We share these stories to understand and respect what millions of people face, not for shock value. If you believe these stories deserve to be told honestly, share this video. Help spread awareness. Skipper's Canyon Road, New Zealand. Most people think of New Zealand as a green paradise. Skipper's Canyon will change that. This narrow gravel road was carved by gold miners in the 1800s and has barely been improved since. It clings to cliff faces above the Shotover River Gorge, a drop of several hundred meters with no barriers. The road is so dangerous that rental car insurance policies specifically exclude it. Sections are single lane with blind corners where two vehicles meeting head-on have nowhere to go. The New Zealand government has considered closing it multiple times, but keeps it open for the scattered residents who have no other way out. Rondo Radoslawa, Warsaw, Poland. Not every deadly road is on a mountain. Some are in the middle of a European capital. Warsaw's Rondo Radoslawa is a massive multi-lane roundabout where several major roads converge in organized chaos. The signage system is so complex that one moment of hesitation puts you in the wrong district. Tram tracks cut across car lanes at unexpected angles. If you don't yield in time, several tons of steel on rails will not slow down for you. Local drivers move aggressively and show zero patience for confusion. For inexperienced drivers, this roundabout is a spinning trap of lane changes, tram crossings, and split-second decisions. Nola to Bongi Road, Central African Republic. There is no public transit system here. People travel by climbing onto the roofs and beds of overloaded cargo trucks. A single truck crams 70 to 100 passengers alongside goods, food, livestock, and sometimes wild animals. The 420-kilometer journey from Nola to the capital Bongi takes up to 18 hours on a road riddled with mud pits, craters, and deep ditches. Passengers stand in painful positions, choked by dust and battered by constant shaking. When the truck hits an impassable stretch, everyone climbs down and walks, sometimes for kilometers, to lighten the load and prevent the vehicle from tipping into a ditch. Hana Highway, Maui, Hawaii. It looks like paradise from a postcard. The reality will test your nerves. The Hana Highway features over 600 hairpin turns and 59 narrow one-lane bridges across 64 miles of Maui's northern coast. Tropical rain hits without warning, turning the road slick in seconds. Waterfalls cascade directly onto the pavement. Sections are cut into sheer volcanic rock, with drop-offs into the Pacific Ocean. Tourist drivers unfamiliar with the road freeze at one-lane bridges, creating dangerous standoffs with oncoming traffic. Locals drive it fast. Visitors drive it terrified. The combination causes accidents year-round on one of America's most beautiful and deceptive roads. Haiti's mountain roads. Most dangerous roads have one primary enemy. Haiti has all of them at once. Decades of deforestation have stripped mountain slopes bare, making them violently unstable. Light rain triggers mudslides that bury entire road sections. The potholes aren't dips. They're craters deep enough to break a truck axle on impact. Infrastructure barely exists. Bridges are improvised. Drainage is non-existent. And then there's the human element. Armed groups and aggressive security forces create an atmosphere where gunfire is a genuine road hazard. Heat, mud, violence, and collapse. Haiti's roads attack from every direction simultaneously. Zojila Pass, India. Connecting Srinagar to Ladakh, Zojila sits at 3,500 meters and serves as a critical military and civilian supply route. In winter, avalanches bury the road under meters of snow, closing for months. When it's open, the surface is loose gravel and mud clinging to cliff edges above deep valleys. The road is single lane for most of its length, forcing trucks and military convoys into dangerous reversing maneuvers on blind corners with no barriers. Wind gusts hit without warning, strong enough to push vehicles sideways. Mechanical breakdowns at this altitude mean waiting in freezing temperatures for help that may take days to arrive. Before we reach the end, quick question: what other extreme topics do you want us to cover? Deadliest hiking trails? Most haunted locations? Most dangerous bridges? Drop your ideas in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss the next journey. James Dalton Highway, Alaska, USA. For 114 miles of isolated gravel roads stretching from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay above the Arctic Circle. This is one of the most remote highways in North America. Gas stations are separated by stretches of 200 miles or more. In winter, temperatures plunge to minus 40 degrees. Ice fog reduces visibility to a few car lengths. The road surface is loose gravel that kicks up rocks capable of shattering windshields. Flat tires are constant. Tow trucks don't patrol here. If you break down between service points, you're alone in the Arctic wilderness with no cell reception and potentially no other vehicle for hours. Truckers who drive this route carry survival gear standard, because out here, your truck is the only thing keeping you alive. So here's the question that matters. Would you actually drive any of these? Most of us would say no, and that would be the rational choice. But for millions of people across every continent, these roads aren't options. They're the only way, the only route to work, to family, to food, to survival. Let us know in the comments which road shook you the most. And if this opened your eyes to realities beyond typical travel content, subscribe to Hider Planet. The next journey goes even deeper.